So, you're thinking of making a move to Denver, Colorado, and you have no idea what each area is like. You also have no idea that each part of the metro areas are vastly different, and until you get into them, you really just don't know. And you don't want to make a move and then feel like you ended up in an area not for you. Making a move is a big deal, but even bigger if you're not familiar with the area. My goal for you through this whole video is to go through this video and think, that's not the spot for me, or maybe, hey, I can explore that area more. And just know that we're going to be coming out with videos all about these areas and doing a deeper dive soon. But on this video, I'm going to cover some of the super sneaky secret spots that you may think, oh yeah, that's my kind of place. So, if you want to learn the perfect spot for you when you're moving to Denver, Colorado, we're going to get into that right now. Hey everyone, this is Venus Howard with the Vindiola Group brokered by eXp Realty right here in the Denver metro area. If this is your first time to my channel and you want to learn all about life in metro Denver area, where to live, sleep, eat, and play, and make sure that you find the perfect place for you, please hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you're notified each and every time we do a new video. We're getting those calls and texts and emails every single day from people moving and relocating here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking of moving anywhere in the entire metro area or the Front Range, make sure you give us a call, send us a text, or shoot us an email. However it is you want to get a hold of us, we're here for you and all things life in Denver, Colorado. So I am going to get into all the areas of the metro area. And coming up, we'll be vlogging about all of each of these areas, but for now, we are going to just look at the map and go into each of the 4 quadrants of the metro area. These areas are almost sectioned off by the highways. If you look at this map, it shows how I-25 is straight down and curves just a little bit, and then in the middle, I-70 is cutting it off from north to south. So it's almost a full circle. And if you look at this is 470. The big loop and the eastern section over by Denver International Airport is a paid toll road, and the western is not. It's pretty handy to get around the big loop if you're needing to get on the other side fairly quick and not deal with rush hour traffic. So in each section, it's almost its own quadrant, with Denver smack in the middle. We are going to be going into each quadrant and tipping just on the sections of Denver in this video. Then in future videos, we will be deep diving into each city and subdivisions and taking you on a full tour of each of these cities and all it has to offer. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on those. So if you drill down into Denver itself, it's broken down into many subdivisions or micro subdivisions, but each of them almost feel like their own city with its own personality, so to speak. You can see here where I-25 is coming down and looping through right here. This is the heart of downtown. One of the little areas not labeled is Rhino, which is very popular, and that area is right about here. We will go into a deeper look into all of these subdivisions in future videos. So again, hit that subscribe button. Some important things to note about these areas are the newer to the older. Over here in Stapleton, which is now renamed Central Park, this is a largely newer area. Central Park is divided into several micro-hoods. These are also very unique as well. This is a large spanned out area with the original Central Park north and then west, then down to the south end. You have Eastbridge, which is the coolest little shops and my favorite Italian restaurant locally owned called Catavella. You have the new light rail line that goes through it east to west, which makes it super convenient for travel downtown and to the airport. Prices of homes are massive range from a single bedroom condo pricing at about $135,000 for a small 721 square foot home to an almost 6,000 square foot home closing at $1.53 million, with an average close price for a home in this area coming in at $644,266. This area is known for shopping. It has Denver's 3rd largest park, attracting sledding in the winter, RC boating, and more. This area is also adjacent to the very popular Lowry subdivision and Northfield, which includes a very large shopping mall. You can also find the Stanley Marketplace, which is built in a former aviation manufacturing facility, one of those indoor market concepts that I mentioned in a previous video. It includes 20 restaurants, bars, a dozen or more little quaint shops. It is a must-see if you come to the area. You can also find in this area a large green that has beer festivals and concerts in the summer. If you live or move to Central Park, there will not be really any reason for you to travel outside of your own town. Also, some of these newer transitional areas, we call them 5 Points, where Rhino also sits, is an area that was populated by gangs when I was growing up. I wasn't allowed to go to that part of town as a teenager. There was a lot of violence, robbery, crime, and murder. I will say this, that Rhino is super popular now. But Five Points still has a higher prevalence of crime than many other areas. The area still makes up at least a quarter of our city's violent crime, according to Fox News. This area has a large and growing homeless concentration and still very heavily trafficked, especially on a Friday or Saturday night with all of the popular bars and restaurants. Denver has 709 statistical neighborhoods, and the 10 core accounted for almost a third of the violent crime in 2020, which includes Five Points, City Park West, Civic Center, Cole, North Capitol Hill, Union Station, and the Whittier neighborhoods. I will also say that these are clustered into certain streets and areas that are just a few blocks each where most of the violent crimes are located. The areas as a whole are not that concentrated with crime. But if you're looking for the urban feel with newer homes, the best place to look is the Highlands. The Highlands is an area where most of the older homes have been scraped and the very new modern homes are built. This area you can find original bungalows or Victorian-style homes also that were built in the early 1900s for about $400,000. Or the rebuilt single-family homes on these old lots for $1.65 million. In the middle, you're looking at about a $700,000 price for a larger older home, or a condo. Many developers are scraping the lots and putting duplex or quads on these, and those are averaging about $800,000. It's all location, and the Highlands is definitely one of the hottest places to be. Highlands is said to have one of the highest food and beverage offering per capita than any other neighborhood in Denver. So if food and drink is your scene, then this is where you need to be. Some of the best places in the Highlands are Little Man Ice Cream. One of the city's first food halls is there, which is Avanti. My Brother's Bar, one of the oldest bars in Denver, is there. Denver Bear Company, and a new favorite of ours that we just found last weekend is the Bindery. Or you cannot miss the pizza at Tap and Dough. Highlands is one of Denver's most historic neighborhoods, incorporated in 1875. The history says that the residents were so devoted to planting gardens and trees that the district was nicknamed the Garden City of the Plains. It was annexed to Denver in 1896. I also will be going into each of these areas in the future videos, so I just wanted to share kind of an opposite spectrum right now of the Denver subdivision, which is all the way on the other side, Bear Valley and southwest from Central Park. You're finding 1950s, 1970s homes and a sale price in the low 400s. You can also find the extremes in the city of Denver. So let's move out of Denver and explore the 4 quadrants. Let's touch on the South Denver suburbs. These include Castle Rock, Parker, Castle Pines, Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch. South Denver is probably the busiest of them all. Highlands Ranch is actually an unincorporated community that is governed by Douglas County. Some people say it's part of Littleton, but really it's just kind of a place all of its own. The whole area is a healthy mix of busy suburban, almost city living, with all the traffic, but just a short drive to the lush mountain towns. Highlands Ranch was stated to be one of the best places to live in Colorado. You have a suburban feel with lots of parks, coffee shops, a large mall, and all the amenities you need in a town. Population, though, is over 100,000 just in Highlands Ranch. Highlands Ranch has more than 25 parks, several dog parks, 70 miles of trail for the active lifestyle of running, biking, or just an afternoon stroll. There's also 2,500 acres of undeveloped land for exploring and an extra 8,200 acres for conservation space in the backcountry wilderness area. There are many restaurants, breweries, and the lifestyle is kind of a relaxed vibe. Home prices start at the mid-300s for homes built in the 1980s and can go all the way to $2.77 million for the newer, larger luxury homes. Heading over to Parker, this area is growing, but it has more of a small town feel. But prices are about the same in the same range. The highest priced homes are Castle Rock and Castle Pines, although you're really not in the mountains, it kind of has a mountain vibe. Castle Rock has the outlet stores and is definitely a longer drive to Denver if you're looking to be further away from the city. The highest sold homes in this quadrant in Castle Rock was $5.5 million, but it had all the luxuries. It had an indoor pool, an outdoor pool, a spa, and so much more. Definitely on the higher scale of luxury than most homes. The average price of a home in this quadrant is $675,000. So if you're looking for city living, scenery, and some areas that feel like you're in the mountains, then this is definitely the area for you to explore. Let's move over to the east of Denver cities. These cities include Aurora, Centennial, Greenwood Village, Cherry Hills, Inglewood, Littleton, and this little small area called Sheridan. These areas couldn't be more different from one another. Inglewood is an older established homes. Littleton is older, established with some areas of newer homes. Downtown Littleton is very clean, almost feels like one of those downtown Denver neighborhoods. View House just moved there, and one of my very favorites is Melting Pot, which is in an old library turned jail and now said to be haunted. Littleton is only about 10 miles south of Denver, and Littleton also has some of the highest ranked schools with some of the highest academic accreditation ratings, and is listed among the top 20 in the nations for safety and security. The light rail has stops in Littleton for an easy trip downtown. Littleton has more than 1,400 acres of open spaces and 200 miles of trails, so if you're an outdoor enthusiast and not looking for mountain prices or mountain living, then this is also for you. You can hike the 8-mile Mary Carter Greenway Trail, or go to the Carson Nature Center, spend the day or the weekend at Chatfield State Park, where you can horseback ride, fish, camp, kayak, and more. And Roxborough State Park is a gorgeous area where you can see so many rock formations. There's also a 50-mile path from Aurora to Chatfield for bikers. You can catch a concert at Hudson Gardens in the summer or any of the summer festivals that Littleton hosts. And if you really want to see some history, you can visit Alfred Packer's grave. Oh, I don't know about that. As in all the towns, visit a local brewery located there or a locally owned restaurant or some of the unique shops. So Cherry Hills, on the other hand, is very upscale. Cherry Creek School District is definitely one of the most prevalent and acclaimed as well. You're going to find some of the most expensive homes in Cherry Hills. Greenwood Village was founded in 1860 and incorporated in 1950. Also, with more than 300 acres of parks and undeveloped space, this is a busy part of town where you can find your escape in some of these areas as well. So you have the healthy mix of both. Within Greenwood Village, you're going to find DTC, or Denver Technical Center, similar to a mini downtown where the technological companies set up shop. If you'll be working in the DTC area, Greenwood Village may be where you decide to look. Aurora. Aurora is huge and probably the most diverse of all cities. You have the older urban part of Aurora, and then the suburban newer feel. Part of Aurora is in Aurora Public Schools, and the other part is in Cherry Creek School District. There's reservoirs, parks, trails, shopping centers, and where most of our hospitals are housed. Aurora is one of those funny cities that our metro area is known for. You can be driving down a street, be in Aurora, go through Denver, and get back into a pocket of Aurora. It's like the developers couldn't agree whose land it was back then and just agreed on chunks at a time. Cherry Creek State Park, Aurora Reservoir are two of the best places to spend a lazy weekend day. So let's head out east to East Aurora, and you feel like you are out there. Aurora is one of those places that we have to spend an entire video on explaining the full spectrum of the area, so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be coming up soon with one of my partners. So let's move to the North Quadrant, and this is where I reside. And boy, you're going to see a completely different lifestyle in each of these areas. We used to call it the Northern Advantage because we didn't really have the population or traffic that the South Sides have, which is mostly still true, but growth is everywhere. We're lumping in the whole north area due to just this reason. It's not as populated. There's more farm country up in the Brighton area still. Talk about an original small town feel where everyone kind of knows everyone. Brighton has newer homes on the east side and the west side flanks, but all in the middle is just old town living. There's an old town main street with not much going on, but if you want that old small town feel, you can even cross over up into Loch Buoy just north of Brighton. It's not on the map, but it's just above Brighton where very affordable homes are compared to the south side. So Commerce City is a lot like Aurora, where the southern part is all smaller, older 1950s ranch homes for the most part. Then it's separated by the Arsenal, and the north part is all new. Two completely different cities in one. The north has Reunion, which is a sister property to the Highlands Ranch, which was developed by the same developers Highlands Ranch, which was Shea Homes. Now Oakwood Homes bought the rights to finish the development a couple years ago. But you really feel like you've stepped back in time in this neighborhood. People are always outside. Everybody waves at everyone, passing the cars. There's always somebody out walking their dog, and it seems like everyone just knows everyone. But then you get hit with the taxes. The Metro District in Reunion is one of the highest tax for homes this age and size. You can get more house for the money in these areas, but you also need to know that the taxes are high. The area is still building up, so the grocery store is always full, and they just keep building homes and apartments without the infrastructure that the area needs. Don't get me wrong, it's an amazing community, and there are some minor issues with that. So, there are some other subdivisions along there that are quaint too, along the 104th corridor of that northern Commerce City. But the locals seem to call the whole area Reunion, which it really isn't. But if you're looking for a new home and you want to be close to DIA, then please check this area out. So heading up north a little bit further is two newly built areas called Firestone and Frederick. Then let's tip down into Erie, which is another small town turned suburban. This area is being built up a little bit faster than Brighton. Erie is voted as one of the best places to live, with a much smaller population, by a quarter of that than the Highlands Ranch. You talk about old football towns, you know, the whole Friday Night Lights scene, and that is Erie, and Brighton too. It still has some rural areas and great subdivision called Vista Ridge, right along the golf course, which has a large range of prices as well, from the low 400s to nearly $2 million. So if you want away from the city, have that small town feel in a newer neighborhood, then Vista Ridge might be where you need to look at. Thornton is a pretty large city as well, same as Westminster and Broomfield, with a healthy mix of older and newer homes. Spread out a bit more, some older pockets that don't feel so great, and some really nice new neighborhoods. A lot of those older neighborhoods are getting investors coming in to fix up those homes, and they're pretty nice. Thornton is a really popular area with newer homes since there was more land prior to Westminster and Broomfield because those were built up earlier. Thornton just has a lot of newer stuff going on right now. Now, I will say that the further you move to the mountains, the more expensive. So let's look at Superior, Louisville, and Lafayette. Those have all large range of homes as well. Superior has a neighborhood called Rock Creek that had some major structural issues several years ago. So if you're looking to move in that area, be aware and do your due diligence, just in case. Also, Louisville and Lafayette are both areas with smaller towns, old main streets with some gentrification and newer homes built as well. You're really getting further away from the main highways and further from downtown, but you're closer to Boulder. Lafayette has summer festivals in the town area as well in the summer, which there's one of the fewer areas you can find older, smaller homes for the high 200s. Very rare, but they do exist. It's definitely suburban with a rural feel in this area. Schools are decently rated, farmers markets are popular, you have proximity to outdoor recreation and a lot of history. So if you're looking to be out of the city, close to Boulder, then these are the cities I would recommend looking into. Last, but definitely not least, let's explore west of Denver. Berkeley, which is the only neighborhood that we're actually discussing right now that's still in Denver, then Arvada, Wheat Ridge, Lakewood, Golden. Berkeley was probably one of the first transitional neighbors, and while very popular, not quite as popular as Highlands. You can take a stroll down Tennyson between 38th and 46th, which was much more key than Highlands, but it has dive bars, coffee shops, boutique shops, and some breweries. There are also older parks. The old Lakeside Amusement Park, dog parks are super popular right here, and patios for dogs are really popular. You're adjacent to Federal Boulevard, which is an old, narrow street, and on rare occasion you can find some older homes in the mid-300s, and a scrape for close to $2 million. Definitely a massive wide range in all of these older historic neighborhoods. So let's talk about one of my absolute favorite places, Arvada. You have so much variety in Arvada, and you have Old Town Arvada, which in my opinion is one of the best places to spend time. You have breweries and fun restaurants and distilleries and even a speakeasy. They have the best St. Patrick's Day fair. The property values here are more expensive just for even the smaller ranch homes due to the popularity of the city. Then you can find yourself out on the eastern newer subdivisions of Candelas, Laden Rock, and Village at 5 Parks. Candelas is the largest master plan community in Arvada. There is also some concerns in these areas, however, due to the fact that it's built near Rocky Flats, which they say is contained, but that is where nuclear weapons were produced in the 1950s. There's a large wildlife refuge in the area and now over 5,000 acres, but Candelas is right there, and some people do have concerns of the area and any remaining contamination, so it's something you need to know. But properties do start at $500,000 and are selling up to $1.3 million. It is very popular. You're right up against the mountains and the most beautiful views. The first portion is about sold out, and they're about ready to open a second version of Candelas. So if you're thinking about moving to this area, we do have information on that and what that looks like for the newer portion. Laden Rock is also very popular in Arvada. It has spectacular views, a large diversity of homes and rolling hills, views of downtown and the mountains. Laden Rock included 10 home builders all coming together to make this community very special. It became the fastest selling single family development in Colorado and the 9th fastest in the nation. There's a reason it's so popular. It is very special. So Wheat Ridge and Lakewood are very similar older homes. Lakewood has a newer shopping center called Belmar and some newer build communities, but mostly 1950s ranches. Golden is just up against the mountains and houses Coors Distributing Center and some amazing homes with great views. We'll be going deeper into each of those in all of our upcoming videos, as I stated before, but this is just a general overview of each section and some special parts of each area. If you would like more specific information about a specific area I talked about, please feel free to reach out and I will be able to help you further explore the area you're most interested in. But make sure you hit subscribe, as I will really be spotlighting each area very soon. I'm Venus with Vindiola Group, brokered by eXp Realty, your favorite Metro Denver realtor. And until next time, see you then.